Science fairs and nature reserves. 2 reports. Report 1.
The climax of many outreach programmes run by the University of Cambridge occurs in March each year with a science festival. Sober university buildings take on a carnival atmosphere in a week-long celebration of science.
It's a unique chance for all the scientific, mathematical, engineering departments to get together and put on this amazing week of activities for kids and adults, and you've never seen anything like it, with all of these quite staid university buildings being sort of overrun by children that week. And it's just a chance to open the doors and interest people in science, really. The Science Festival is a very large event for the university. It's the largest public event we run each year. We record over 45,000 visits to all of the events. The atmosphere on the Science on Saturday was absolutely fantastic.
This experiment is part of a project called Crash Bang Squelch. By mixing corn flour and water, you get a material that can be both a liquid and a solid at the same time. It's strange and fun to play with, but there is a serious point. It might cause a child to begin to think differently about the materials of everyday life. In the week before the festival, Sebastian Watt and his fellow volunteers from the Earth Science Department climb into their time truck and tour many of the local schools.
Which is packed with interactive exhibits about geology, sort of volcanoes and these sorts of things, little demonstrations. The aims of the festival are to enthuse the general public about science, especially children, young people, to encourage them to be the next generation of scientists. And that's why the Science Festival is so important. It breaks down barriers between scientists and the wider community and the university and the wider world, and we think that's of benefit to both. Of course, we want to encourage children and young people to study science at this and other universities, but above all, we want children and parents to understand how wonderful science is and how important a part it plays in all our lives.
Report 2.
In this report on the Sedgwick Nature Reserve, you will hear a narrator and 2 speakers. Dr. Michael Williams, the Reserve Director, and Professor Jennifer Torsch of the University of California, Santa Barbara.
The University of California Natural Reserve System provides a testing ground for developing innovative solutions to California's tough environmental and educational challenges. With more than 30 sites dedicated to teaching, research, and public outreach, NRS reserves can be found throughout the state. The Sedgwick Reserve near UC Santa Barbara provides a perfect example of the kinds of activities that go on throughout the system. Here, UC faculty and staff are exploring ways to preserve the state's disappearing oak woodlands and restore native grasslands. Delving deep into the earth to understand the microorganisms that support California's ecosystems, and pioneering new ways to serve the state's diverse student population. Community support is essential to the success of the reserve. Many people in the area volunteer to serve as docents at the reserve, leading public tours and conducting educational programs for school groups. Dr. Michael Williams is the reserve director.
Without an outreach program, you can't get people excited about a site. And the outreach also fits into the mission of the NRS for public service, and to actually show people in a very controlled setting. We don't allow open use of the reserve, but with trained docents, we can have classes come out here and see research happening. The nice thing about outreach for me personally, is I like to see kids get excited about science, to see it in action. The special programs we have that are under the oversight of the outreach coordinator is one program in particular called Kids in Nature, where we bring low-income, poor-performing school district kids from throughout currently Santa Barbara County, but that will be expanding into other adjoining counties this next year. We bring them in for almost a whole year of interaction, and that includes a number of field trips here to work on a restoration project, and to work on the biology of the plants they're using in the restoration project, and to understand the communities under which the restoration project's taking place, and it just keeps multiplying itself out. Then they go on campus and they actually learn about plant anatomy, and they look at the anatomy of the very plants they're planting out here. And then they've got computer games that they can take back with them to the classroom that are developed specifically of plants at Sedgwick's. They come back out here and they start asking more questions that they've learned or that's been generated by the games.
The Kids in Nature program draws on the resources of both the reserve and the campus. Professor Jennifer Torsch and her students at UC Santa Barbara played a key role in creating and running the program.
My concept was to bring botany to K through 12 students and bring them to the university for experiences in the laboratory and also at our natural area sites on campus. Sedgwick Reserve was running their own schools program. We learned about each other's program, so we met and a collaboration was born, and Kids in Nature was the result. I think the impact that Kids in Nature is having is probably more far-reaching than we will even begin to understand. Not only are they introduced to the university environment, many of these children have never ever been on a university campus, and the concept of going to college is not in their realm. The visits to the university familiarize them with what a university is, and we all try and be extremely positive when these students are on campus and show them that they can come here too.
And I think that's a wonderful use of a natural reserve site. Again, it's very controlled, research sites are protected, the kids get to meet a lot of the researchers during these programs.
And I think often, especially young girls, at the ages between the 4th grade and 6th grade, begin to believe that they cannot be scientists or that it's not a cool thing to do. And so we try and show them that you can be anything you want to be. And also, I think science is really interesting, and by and large, it's not taught in a really hands-on, teaching by doing rather than teaching by telling. And so this program not only has them doing experiments in the labs at UCSB, but they're out here in this beautiful environment.